So the point of this, what I'm doing, is called Behind the Keys with Jack. It's behind the keys of like your success, what you did from the beginning to the very end, where you're at now, good events, bad events, the whole 9 yards. So it's kind of like that. We'll dive into some of the stuff that we've done together, of course, but most importantly, it's just figuring out what has stopped you and what got you to where you had to be. Family, was it haters? There's a lot of things that you got to go through, but I'm going to bring a lot of questions up to you. But if you're this big of an influencer online, that's important because people who will see this, find this, they're going to kind of discover more about you. So this is like kind of behind it, like what you do, because right now you are probably a good percentage of planners out there that are not doing this full time because they need some sort of security. But there has to be a push. There has to be something that's like eventually going to give. You just said it earlier today. You're just trying to finish that contract. But what happens if you finish that contract? Are you going to go backwards or are you going to go forwards? Mm-hmm. That's what you have to ask yourself. Anyway. So, don't worry. These are good questions. These are riveting questions. Riveting. Okay. Let me see me. I forgot what episode I'm on. Okay. Take 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All right. It's 11:11. Take 1. Hello. Got it. Okay. All right. Guys, once again, we're back at it. Behind the Keys with Jack Bermeo. And today we have something really cool. Someone who I've looked up to for quite some time. She's been really covering a lot of fantastic events. And we actually had the honor of working with her a few big elaborate events. Most recently, we had an engagement party. We did someone's 60th birthday, which is off the walls. So we're going to go into a lot of those details in a second here. But someone about this particular planner, demographically, where she comes from, she really created a lot of waves. She's put herself in a position where I would say she's going to be one of the most recognizable planners in the industry. However, there might be some things that are holding her back. But anyway, I want to bring in my dear friend, Katherine Rodriguez. Is that right, Katherine?
That's right.
Okay. Katherine, welcome to Behind the Keys with Jack. Obviously, I've interviewed many people here before, and you're one of my favorite planners that I bring in. Okay, so today, let's get to know you a little bit here. What is your full company's name?
Hello, Jack. Thank you for having me here.
Yes.
The name of my company is HRS Event Design. And HRS stands for Whole Rental Supplies. I've been asked a lot of times what does it mean, and I started with that name.
I started with that name. Is that from the beginning, or did you not change your name a few times, or is this?
No, that was Whole Rental Supplies was the name of my company. I used to rent out items.
Okay.
After that, I decided to go more into the wedding and designing, so I wanted to put it more out there, not confuse my crowd, and change it into HRS Event Design.
Now, how long have you been doing this right now? Because I've known you for quite some time, but literally, how long have you been doing smaller events to the bigger events until you are today? Like you have?
It's been a total of 10 years. Started renting out linens, started doing drapery, furniture, charger plates, chairs, tables. I rented it, all of that.
Let's go into that, though. That's what you started doing. You started renting out chairs, drapes, all this before you did any, planning, right?
Right.
So what was that idea? Like, how did that just come up? It was like, you know what? I just wanted to start to offer tables, chairs, and drapes. And then how did this evolve, though? But, let's start from the beginning.
Okay. So
what's your first event?
My first event was my baby shower.
Okay.
So I bought a bunch of stuff. I bought the linens. I bought the tablecloths. I bought everything. And I started doing, it turned out great. I always had the vision for designing and everything. Then after that, why shouldn't I just rent? And then my husband at that time worked as a fireman at a hall. He's like, why don't you just start renting? Because regardless, everybody asks you for things and opinions. Why don't you just do it? I was like, yeah, that would be great if you give me the opportunity to showcase my stuff.
Right.
So I started showcasing my things every Tuesday after work. I would get out of work at 5, 7 o'clock. I used to go and display my table and sit down with a contract, a little hand-written down contract.
Do you remember your first party that you did, though?
I do.
What was it?
I do remember her name. Oh, my God. It was a Sweet 16. And I remember it was overlays, burgundy overlays, chair covers. Oh, my God. The linens were wrinkled. I didn't know what to do with those linens. We went and rewashed them again to see if they come out of the dryer a little bit more. But still, we had to. The firehouse had a upstairs, and I was pregnant and everything, trying to iron those things.
Yeah.
Trying to iron those linens. It was very, really tough. Some of my clients remember that hire me now, and they're like, "Remember when you used to rent out things?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Wow. So like after that part of like the starting of your company, things started building up more.
Yep.
I guess you wanted more in your world. So what was the next step after you started doing rentals? Was the next move like maybe doing invitations or just doing centerpieces or like?
We focus. Our focus was more drapery. I saw a big demand for drapery, so we were known for drapery. A lot of people will come. A lot of planners. I've known a lot of planners who I know right now, and they reached out to me at that time for drapery. And I see them now, and they're like, "Oh my God, Katherine, how far you've come. Because I remember renting linens from you. I remember doing drapery from you." And it's just been great, guys.
Okay, so then let's move forward a little bit here. You had a few years in doing all this rental stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There had to be one event that took off for you, and it's like, you know what? I wanted to be a wedding planner or an event planner. There has to be one event that you remember. Do you know what that was?
Guys, it's not an event. Actually, when I moved to Colorado.
You lived in Colorado?
Yeah, I went to Colorado for 2 years.
How did you live in Colorado? What did you do out there?
I was just in Colorado. I wasn't working at the time over there. I was just being a mom.
In Colorado?
In Colorado.
Okay.
But my business was still running. Mind
Here
you,
in Jersey?
Yeah. So I had people working here. I would give them the details of where they need to set up.
Mm-hmm.
There was no Zoom around this area, so I had to introduce my clients to Zoom meetings. I had to show them. There was no COVID, nothing. That was the norm, Zoom.
When were you in Colorado? When was this? I feel like this is like not too long ago.
This was 2015, 2016.
Okay, all right.
So I was in Colorado for 2 years. So I started working for a company that it really opened up my eyes. And why? Because I'm known to want to know more. So I went into this company so I can learn. So I can learn the system, so I can learn how to do things, so I can learn the process.
This company is event planning
Yes.
company? Okay.
And they do catering event planning.
Right.
It was so amazing. For me, it was like, oh my God, I want to have something like this. And have a bunch of people. They have chefs, they have DJs, they have...
So you enjoyed the whole, like, I guess, organization, the whole process
The
of
whole
just
process
like
of
how
it.
to execute.
The team, the everything. I remember putting walkie-talkies on. And I was like, oh my God, this is so fun. This is so great. I looked up to the planners there. And I was like, I'm going to be like that. And I told the people I worked there, I'm going to be like that. I am going to run an event planning company. And from there on, I actually said to my husband, I'm sorry, I'm going to go to New Jersey. He stayed in Colorado for a couple of years. I came back to New Jersey by myself.
So he's a fireman in Colorado?
No, he's actually an engineer. So he was just volunteering.
Okay, all right. Just put it together and putting the story together. Go on.
And then he stayed a couple of years. He said, okay, you got to pursue what you want to do. I moved back to my house that we had here rented, so we had to tell the people I needed to back the house. And I started doing my thing, which is now HRS event design.
Okay. Now, do you remember like your first big wedding?
My first big wedding? Because everything came out together.
It seemed like everything came out pretty fast with you. So
yeah,
there
so
had
I
to be
started
like,
doing, I was a chef, the chef police, I forgot their name. But it was the police department. I started with them. They got married, and they gave me this huge opportunity at Leaves, and it was just, for me, they trusted
So
me.
you've been with Lenive since day one, pretty much, I guess. This is where your business kind of like really got planted its seed.
She saw my work from day one.
Who are we talking about she? Who's she?
Yolanda. I
Yolanda,
love
of
my
course.
Yolanda. So she
YOLO.
saw and admired my work, and she said, who did this? I didn't even, it was a candy lamp thing. She was like, who did this?
Can you describe a little bit more about Yolanda? Who is Yolanda? We want to know who Yolanda is.
Yolanda is a very strong person, which I owe a lot to her because I've learned so much from her strong personality. Very business oriented, very straightforward. You have to do this. This is what I want, and this is what you got to get done. I've done her events since baby shower, a little Salvatore, to all the way, all her family events. Has been about 6 years.
So Yolanda happens to be like one of those, I guess, owners that really takes her business pretty serious.
Yes.
And anyone that goes in there, especially vendors, they got to respect her turf,
Right.
you know. So she's a tough cookie, I know that. And she
Yep.
definitely leaves an impression, but she means well, and she definitely, like, if you set it off right for her, you're going to leave a good impression with her, and she's the type of person that constantly opens her doors for you. So it's we know exactly which we're talking about. So, but with Yolanda's with Lanive's, like being one of your homes, there you have a lot of diversity.
Yep.
You know, you have African American weddings, you have a lot of Latin events, Latino events, and then you have, of course, some just standard events. There had to be one time that an event didn't go as planned. There had to be something that kind of went wrong. Can you recall any of this, or you're just that awesome?
Well, the only thing that I remember that's just from the past that I remember is like I did Yolanda's baby shower. Okay, that was my first time doing an event for Yolanda, and I'm like, oh my god, it was just I don't know if you guys go through this, and you're like, oh my god, this huge owners event, and you're so nervous. You have things like it's just exciting. Everything was perfect. I went home. The next day, I wasn't really involved in the coordination part of it. So I left. I was just, okay, I decorated your event. Goodbye. But what happened, the cake, I don't know. I had a nice clear glass. I remember this cake, this clear acrylic cake stand, a cube. But the cake was huge. So someone stamped on it and the cake fell. It was, mind you, this cake was expensive. The cake fell.
During the party, or was this like...
During the party, guys. During the party when they were taking pictures, when everything was going on. So they called me and they're like, Katherine, the cake fell. I have no idea. My heart dropped. I was like, oh man, that's it. I'm not going to work here anymore. I got something going on. She's going to hate me. Because overall, you guys know, the whole entire event, if something goes wrong, it's the planner's fault. It's the person.
Did you learn anything from this mistake, though?
That's when I started doing coordination.
Okay.
And that's when I said, you know what, I need to stay there to make sure everything runs smoothly.
Do you feel that with the story that you just said, you weren't there?
Exactly.
So you I think moving forward now, it's like, shit, I got to be here all the time.
Especially that type of caliber event, right? It was just too big of event.
Yes.
So I was like, I cannot just leave. There has to be someone there. And from there on, I started being there. And I apologized because, you know what, overall, it's my responsibility. It's my responsibility to be there and make sure I have a plan B.
How elaborate is your team now currently? Like, you know, you're doing events. I know we've done events this year a few times,
So
but
what do you mean?
how elaborate? How many people do you have working under your belt now under HRS?
Under HRS, I have 6. But overall, as a planner, I've known to run 20 people, 25 people because I've sub-hired people. So I can...
But currently you have 6. You just kind of outreach for more, okay? Yeah. So that's good to know because a lot of planners that I've been interviewing before, they want to kind of be just like 1, maybe 2 people. That's just kind of what they take. They don't want to do any more than that. Where do you see HRS with events per year? Like, do you see yourself doing from when you first started, you were probably doing maybe 6 to 10 to now 50, 60? Where do you see HRS going now?
Well, I like what you said, 6 to 10. I like those 6 to 10 to stay like that, but with a different type of budget and clients. I still do want to keep my lower budget clients. Is my vision to always help out those people that cannot afford to those high budgeting. But that's why I want to keep a nice team to always be there for my clients.
A person like you, married with how many kids now?
2.
2 kids. It's kind of difficult to be a planner in this business, especially, you know? So how do you divide your time as a family woman, married woman, mom, and a planner? Like, that's not easy. So, like, what are your traits? What do you do to divide that time?
If you were to ask me what is the hardest part of wedding planning and event planning, that question is the hardest part. Because I am constantly working. Constantly. So when I go home, I try to detach, but still I see my phone ringing. I try to eat with my kids, but I still have a Zoom meeting to go to. So my aim this year has been, you know what, Katherine, this hour or 2 hours, go biking with your kids. I go biking every day with my boys. My husband, he's a workaholic as well, so it's okay. But and he helps with the kids very much. He's a very good dad. But we tried. We're trying to do vacationing at least once a year. But even when we're on vacation, we're working. Like it's for me, drives my crazy. Like I go Zoom meetings and I do things. So I'm still trying to get better. I am not going to tell you something right now that is perfect, but being a mom and being an entrepreneur is the hardest thing you can have in the world.
Especially with kids. Yeah, for sure. That's a question that gets asked me a lot, how?
It's hard.
It's a very small percentage of people that are entrepreneurs that understand the system and their spouses know the system. Because other than that, if they don't understand it, you're just going to be a stat. You're going to be one of those divorcees. You're going to be part of that stat.
You have to have that support.
Business took over, and then business is something. But I'm in a position the same way. I've been a workaholic. I love what I do. I just wanted more. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. And with this drive and adrenaline, it's almost like I have peers. I have people who look up to me like they don't want to see someone like me go down or just give up. So I feel like I have to set the tone, raise the bar really high. What more you can expect in an industry, any entertainer, as a wedding producer, as a wedding collaborator. There's a lot of things that go behind the scenes, and it's not easy to it's something you just don't put on a piece of paper,
Yep.
It takes time, but it's something. I know there's a lot of women in your position that are trying to find a way to balance that out.
I think you got to involve your family and your kids. Like I tell my kids, mommy has HRS event design. Mommy's working at HRS event design. So they know when mommy's not home, mommy's working.
So what are some of the tips you would give to some women in your position, especially, mostly women. A lot of women now, they do have kids, and they just kind of one or two kids. And they want to get into this event planning form because they love the glamorous life that we live,
Right.
which is technically false, but it's hard work. So you have any tips or advice?
My tips and advice is wake up early. If you have to be at work at 9 o'clock in the morning, wake up at 7 and spend that 2 hours with your kids. If you have to make breakfast and cook, sorry, I'm very Dominican, so I cook for my kids, I clean for my kids, I do laundry for my kids, I do everything in my house. So it's not like, okay, I have a nanny at home. No. So try to do ahead things, okay?
Mm-hmm. So with this planning process as a mom and as an entrepreneur, let's start with like we're planning an event, all right? We'll use some of the events that we did recently. Let's just talk about Abby's recently. What is the starting point of planning someone like Abby? Abby, she's a dear friend of mine, and we've known her girls and now her son. We did her engagement party recently, her daughter's engagement party recently, and it was very elaborate. That was from the ground up. What was the starting process, the planning process that you had to put together to understand a client like her?
There you go. You have to try to understand their vision, okay? So first of all, you got to connect with them. You got to see what they want, how are they about, what are they like. You got to know them. So we go to their house, I look around, I see how do they live, what are the standards that they go by, right? Then you hear them out. This is what I want, Catherine, this is what I need, and this is what I see. Okay. From there, I start analyzing and putting together. I use IO Planner. It's a system where it puts everything together. I put out the designing, I put the floor plan. So from there on, I create a design board for my client. I send it over to her. She agrees, she signs off. Yes, I love it, I love it, I love it. After that, we give her a proposal.
What are the questions you would ask someone like Abby, I guess, just to kind of get a better idea for a party like that caliber? How do you break the ice?
It was just very easy with Abby. But how do you, because she's
In
such an
general.
amazing client.
Right.
But how do I break the ice? Hey, Abby, where do you go for dinner? What do you do on your day-to-day basis? So one thing I learned from that particular client, and that has been something going on this whole year, it's been a lot of business owners. So that helped. She has a different standard. She doesn't want to be bothered a lot of times. She doesn't want to be in meetings
She knows what she wants.
Exactly.
Obviously, when we have business owners as clients, they know what they want. They can smell bullshit.
This is what I need, and this is what I want. I don't want to let them Zoom meeting, Catherine. I just need to know what I need to pay, and you do your thing. Oh, my God. That puts a lot of more pressure because now they're already trusting you from the beginning.
With a trust like that, it's not like, well, we can do everything. Because that's one of my things that I absolutely hate. When I talk to a lot of my guys, even some planners, they're like, when we try to coach people,
Right.
it's one thing that I want to swallow and never say. It's like, I'll do anything you want. I'll do anything. I do everything, whatever you want. It's so vague. When you do something like that, when it's so vague, that is something that every planner, every DJ, everyone in the industry would say. It's better to change that, to offer them creative ideas, you know? And if someone like Abby was like, we walked them, held their hand.
Yep.
This is what's going to happen from the beginning. We're going to establish valet parkers right from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Not 2, not 4, 8 valet parking because we expected over 200 people with this event.
Yeah.
Taking 10 steps in, what are we doing next? We surveyed. We saw that a really luxurious bathroom should be placed right here on the left-hand side next to the home, right?
Right.
Still not done. We got to figure out other things.
Exactly.
You turn to the right, there has to be more of a wow factor. Little baby steps, but that's part of like to me, a great planner should always be like very descriptive, detailed, because when you're this detailed, you have experience and you leave confidence with this client that's always going to say, well, Jack, I like that idea, but I want more. And she's the type of client that was like, I want more. It wasn't like she was just throwing ideas at us. We were throwing a lot of ideas. And together we came out with a really great show. It was like a show from the beginning to the end. I don't know how Hannah's wedding is going to match to this engagement party, because this engagement party was definitely off the walls. I mean, we had it all.
It was a wedding.
It technically was a wedding, you know? So it's really difficult. I feel like it's going to be very difficult for me. I'm knocking on wood here, that when we do her wedding, you know, can it be as elaborate and that detailed? I'm sure it would, but there's more pressure on us now because it's like, you know, they saw a preview.
How do I elevate from that other event, right?
So we're just going to have to fly in like John Legend or something like that. That's the only thing, you know. But that also leads us into like an event that we did earlier today as well. Same caliber. This was just a birthday party, and Brian, 60th birthday party. And that one was like a show that you really designed from the beginning to the very end.
Yeah.
A same scenario. You walk your client to the beginning. What are we doing when they walk in? We had a steel drummer. We had a red carpet that was, and Brian, who's an electrician, or he owns a company, he helped out tremendously by putting a foundation for this ginormous clear tent, which is something we will never do again. A clear tent.
No, never. I had a client say, "Oh, I like it." No clear tent allowed.
Why not a clear tent? Tell me why.
It overheated everything, even Jack's laptop. And thankfully, he had a second laptop. I don't know how he thought of that, of a plan B. I was just surprised he was ready for it. His laptop shut down, but the music continued. It was just crazy.
With a clear tent, you're still getting the sun coming in.
But it was beautiful.
It was very nice.
I think I'd do a clear tent in the fall or winter.
You know what? Unexpectedly, though, we didn't realize how the beams were creating a little bit more of like a hot tent inside. So, you know, maybe there was a few complaints that it was getting too hot. The ventilation wasn't coming through because we had to open up all the sides, because the clear tents do kind of hold the heat inside, you know. And I think moving forward is something that we addressed to even Abby months later. It's like, you know what, we can do clear, but it's probably best that we maybe partition them, maybe do half white, the other clear. We were tossing a lot of ideas, and she wound up just doing the whole like drapery with like some chandeliers. Looked really cool, you know. So that's pretty cool. Is there anything, with your experience now, is there anything about your company that you would change?
Anything about my company that I would change? I don't think so, guys, because I'm still growing. I don't think I would change it.
Very humbling of you to say.
I think we're growing and we learn from the mistakes. So it's not that I would change it. I will make it better, and I will try to elevate whatever it is. I'm trying to become someone that is looked up to, like I looked up to a lot of people. So I think I already am. Some people look up to me, and I love it. I love the great feeling, and I love helping. I love when a lot of planners reach out to me that are starting, and I love helping them. So it's just amazing.
Now, people that are looking up to you, let's go into that a little more. Like, you're really doing a fantastic job on social media. You're constantly pumping out. You have an amazing team here. Obviously, I'm going to turn the camera to this one right here. Her team is right here in the background. Look, now she's on. She doesn't realize that. I just put her on. You have a great team. Content is constantly being pushed out, which really shows a different value and style as to HRS.
Yep.
Demographically, you know, where are you getting your clients now? Are they coming from social media? Are they coming from the needs? Are they coming from a specific DJs? Are they coming from like word of mouth? Like, where do you see now with all the heavy duty work you've done now to really push yourself over 40,000 plus followers? You know, and these are all organic, I assume.
Right.
Right. Where do you see your clientele kind of like transform into?
As for my yearly report that I have from Honeybooks, right now my top is a lot of we have Instagram and Google search.
These are the two platforms you use.
That is giving me where my clients are coming from.
Okay.
So it's showing me where they.
What's your take on TikTok?
So guys, I am so bad on TikTok. I am those. You're not gonna believe me. I tried it and I just can't get engaged to it. I can't find a crowd. Mm-hmm. I like to be connected with my crowd. I like to feel like I'm connected to my people. TikTok, I don't feel connected. Mm-hmm. I just feel like you're just putting videos out there.
Do you think we're getting old because we don't understand TikTok?
No, I understand that. I just don't feel connected.
That's like the new market that just wants to see previews of what you do. I'm learning from it too. Trust me. I'm on the same page.
I try so hard.
We've put years of developing some sort of interaction through like Instagram, even through like sometimes through like the Facebook
what about
and stuff
Thread?
like that. Well, Threads is a new thing now, and
I like Thread.
You like Threads? Is like Twitter? I'm pushing Threads as much as I can. You know, Threads, I'm being very controversial because like I know I don't have to say anything. I don't have to write content or anything like that. Just blast it. You know.
I love Thread. I like the fact that you can start clean and everything's looking clean. You know, but again, Twitter. It's not that Twitter. What's it called?
Threads.
No, the other one you were talking
Instagram.
about. TikTok. Guys, I promise you I will get better on TikTok. A lot of people have been asking me because they know I have a lot of content that I can use on TikTok. I promise this year, before the year ends, I'm going to make it work.
So now you work with a lot of different DJs. You work with bands and venues. Is there, let's just say, we don't have to leave the names out, but did you ever have a bad experience with any of these vendors, from DJs to bands to venues, that caused you to almost like you felt like defeated?
Well, when the client hires the DJ and they're not used to, and they're DJs that are used to working on their own and they're not used to working with planners and working with a timeline, that is the highest for me, like the biggest challenge I've had, because I have to kind of tell them what is it that I'm there. I'm there to help. We're there to work together, not to look who's better than what. I'm there to support, to work. And then they give me, I'm the one that knows. And or there was one that told me I don't follow the timeline. I'm like, okay, but I do. So you're doing your job. I need to do my job. So there I started to get a little bit more on the aggressive planner because he didn't cooperate. Usually I get timelines from DJs, right? You give me a timeline and we put it together. But he told me I don't work by timeline. I just go with the flow. I'm like, okay, that's not the way I work. I am strictly timeline.
There's definitely a difference in professionalism and value right there. You know? Obviously with experience, you know what you're dealing with.
But then you start going away from those people.
Well, you outgrow it, you know. That's what happens. You outgrow that particular type of DJ. Occasionally you bump into them, but it's like the band, DJ, whatever the case is. Yes, same thing with me. I've had planners that I work with, and I think I mentioned this on my podcast before. Planners do step over the line sometimes, especially the new ones. And I'm like, and I go crazy at this point. It's like I just give them the stare. I just look at them. I'm like, do I have a stare? What's my stare? What's my stare? That's it. Is that my stare?
He has a stare. He has a stare, guys. And don't talk to Jack before he gets into character. That's the one advice I give you. He comes in, he's setting up, he's doing his thing. Don't talk to him about timeline or anything till he's all set up. That's it. You're not going to get the same Jack you get right now. He's more in the focus mode. He's setting up. That's you. Focus mode.
Exactly. No, thank you. Yeah, I do have a face when it's like, wait, you're off a little bit. And it's like, I do give him that look. I'm like, hold it in. I was like, yo, no, not today. Give me 3 more hours. Give me 2 more hours. But no, that's funny.
But one advice I give you guys as DJs, and especially when you're starting with a planner, just have some patience with them. They're nervous. They are not as experienced as you guys are. And I've been there, done that. I've been trying to do my job as best as I can. I've been trying to tell the DJs what to do or not to do. I've been there. So cut them some slack, right? Teach them.
I've noticed that a lot of planners that follow us and they kind of see our clientele and where we're at, the different venues. I believe they get very excited because they want to work with us.
Yeah.
And we're very excited to work with new faces all the time. But I sometimes feel like a lot of the new planners do step over the line where it's like they want to show us what they put together and like who they are.
Yeah.
And
They want your approval.
in a way, I guess
Yeah.
you can say, and sometimes it doesn't flow that way because it's like sometimes it's overboard, overkill, and it's like, wait, all right, because like
Yeah.
I respect all planners at what they do, but there's two things. Obviously, the dance floor is mine. That's it.
Exactly. That's the rule.
That's the rule. The dance floor is mine. I don't touch your centerpiece. I don't touch your tables. Let me do my thing.
Right.
That's it. If I step off, and I'm on this section, just kick me out. Just kick me out. I'm good.
Yeah.
But I don't interfere like that because it does definitely throw me off a little with my character. So, some of the events that you had, you still have not told me like one of the worst events. You just told me Yolanda's cake thing. You had to have like some sort of crazy event that you had to figure out how to diffuse, how to fix.
Oh, I've always had those. It's hard for me
Besides
to.
the cake.
I've had events. I had events where they're arguing, the bride and the maid of honor, or the bride and the mom. And then I had to come in. I always have those.
Was there any fights that happened afterwards?
I always had those. Not always. Have one or two where they fight. But I think one of the ones
Was Yolanda part of those? Did she fight?
I don't comment. Guys, I think when it comes, there was one event I didn't know how to fix it. I found that I shouldn't step on the line. I was just left it like that. There was a groom holding the maid of honors behind in a picture while the bride was in the middle. The maid of honor was next to him. I see everything, guys. That's my job. I have eyes everywhere, so I see everything. So I caught myself and I froze because it was too good of a sweet bride. And I was like, what should I do?
Your heart.
My heart. And you guys, I'm a super romantic, and I'm seeing this, and I'm like, oh my God. I was like, oh man, why did I have to see this? Why did I have to see this? And then I saw the whole night for me was horrible. I couldn't see the bride's face. I just felt like I was lying to the bride. But again, those are challenges that you come across. Do you tell the bride? Do you tell something to the groom? Do you tell something to the maid of honor?
You just gotta let that 3-4 hour go and just go home. At that point, it's like you gotta keep quiet.
And that's exactly what I did. I was like, you know what? Go home and relax. This is gonna pass. That's it. No more.
So, also behind something with the keys here, like you're in a position with a lot of. Let me rewind. Let me ask this question again. With the 40,000 plus following that you have here, you get asked a lot of questions.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people here, females and males, that want to start, and they're Latinos.
Yep.
What are the questions that they always ask you through DM or through text, or whatever, where it's like they want to get motivated a little bit and they want to do this?
How do I do it? How did you do it? How did you get so many followers? And my answer to that is consistency. You got to make sure you post. Make sure you connect. I do not post one post without feeling it. If I am not feeling that post and connected to that post, I do not post it. You will not see a post. Okay? I read carefully what I write, and I reread it again. And even the music I put, everything makes sense. I feel it. And maybe it's bad for my business because it's all relying on what I feel and what I think. It's only one man shop. But right now, every single post, you have to have a purpose. What clients do you want to bring in? What people you want to bring in? And my posts are shifting. You're seeing what type of events I want to do. You're seeing what type of things I want to do through my posts.
You realize, like, this is a good subject here because I just look white as shit. That's what it is. I'm Jack, gringo. That's one of the things that I've noticed in our industry where it's like people are curious in general.
Yeah.
People are curious, like, how did you get this caliber of a client? How did you get to these venues? And you're right. It is consistency. Like, if you're not consistent with your work and you don't believe in your product and if you don't believe in what you've pushed out, then this is just a regular job and you're riding it just for the hell of it, and that makes no sense to me. It makes us, you're just a part to me. And this is no offense to anyone who's part-timers. I'm just saying That's part-time hustling. Part-time hustling is you're making your money to do what with it after that point. I know you got to live, but like, what are you going to do?
You got to take it serious.
I'm the type of person that wants to reinvest in myself and explore more of what I can do, because if you put yourself in a position such as, like, let's just say David Totera, let's just say Preston Bailey. These are well-known florists, event production people, wedding planners that are known. And a lot of people see that as like, we want that clientele. We want to do 10 events a year at $150,000 or $200,000. That's what we want.
Yeah.
You know, but to get there, it's a lot. It's not
not easy, guys.
It's not just the consistency is going to get you for sure, but it's going to take time. But it's also what you wear, how you behave, what you do, you know, and how you got to be on. And eventually, it's like fishing. Someone's going to catch you, and like, you know what? I got a private event for you. Can you do this for me? That had to happen to you a few times. Where it's like,
happens to me a lot of times.
So people are following you and they're seeing this, and it's like eventually a client's going to be like following you. It's like, you know what, Katherine? Hey, I got this small party, the Sweet 16. Can you do this? I happen to be a fashion designer, la-di-da-di, this, that. You cleaned out what other planners couldn't do, and now you got this client that's on your lap, right?
Yeah.
How do you value that? That's something.
Well, I had a similar client that for me was one of the, this year has been blessed. This and last year, it's been amazing. This client, she works as a producer for Univision. And when she reached out to me, I didn't even know how to talk to her. I was just very intimidated because of the caliber of work she does, right?
Right.
She runs all the Grammys, and she puts together the Grammys. She puts together. When I started reading about her, that's another thing, guys. Make sure you know about your client.
I'm opposite of that, but go on.
No, I like knowing what they like, what they eat, everything. I like. But anyways, when she reached out to me, she interviewed me, guys. Really interviewed me, like an interview. Her daughter and her husband, but she was the one mainly asking the questions. And then after that, the same night after she interviewed me, she's like, "You're it. I don't have to look anywhere else. I love your passion. I love you for professionalism. And that's it. That's all I want for my daughter's party." This party was one of the biggest one I had last year.
Sweet 16, right?
Yeah.
Grove the Tides. Where were the Tides? I remember this.
It was huge, guys. And even the video, we have a video that I still haven't posted. I'm waiting for Samuel to send it to me, which is like a documentary.
I love it.
It's a documentary video that my client was even thinking of putting on Netflix or something, because it started from the beginning, from the cake tasting, from everything. Everything was recorded.
It's a fantastic journey.
And after, it was huge. And we also did photo shoots. We also did oh my God, it was just amazing. Amazing, amazing. How do you come across that? How do you thank a client like that? Hey, you have to be professional and know what you're talking about. You got to put everything together. I have IOPlan, I have HoneyBooks, I have a system, I have Asana. It's not just magically, I have an event, I'm putting it together. You have to be prepared.
So when you obviously being prepared, it's the question is like, if I have a vision of being blue, it's not just like, oh, we're just going to bring in any type of blue.
No.
You have to have at least
a process.
30 different types of blues to understand
Right.
that particular color. Then you keep finding the family colors of that blue to balance out the vision, right?
Right. You
Little
have to have a
baby steps,
process.
right? That's the process that a lot of planners or a lot of people in your position where it's like, oh yeah, whatever you want. You're letting the client do most of the job. And it's like, no. To win the big fishes, you need to have experience. You need to really go in and leave a big impression of what you can do. And that's great. That's how you landed these big deals. So my hat's...
Thank you.
But I want to bring something up though.
Oh.
I would say about good 75 or 80% do what you do. Research the client, right?
Right.
I'm the type of person that if I put this much time and effort into social media, into my video content, to create who I am, what I'm about, they've seen my journey every weekend. They're going to be excited to see me because they want this for their day.
Right.
If I know more about them when they come in, to me, I'm working harder to change my like, oh yeah, how are you? It's great seeing you. I rather them, when I know that they research about me and they come in and they're like, oh my goodness, I need this wedding. I saw you do this at this piano thing. I want you to do this. I want you to do this. Like, and I saw you're over here, you're over there. It's like, I already know that they've researched so much about me that I didn't stop it. I think if I stopped it by saying, "Oh my goodness, you're a bikini model, you work out, this that," I would ruin the whole, for me, like the organic relationship, because all my clients, when I'm on the phone with them, it's like, just go online, check out those reviews, compare us, because when I see you come in here, you're already educated, or you already did your job diligently. Now it's my job in the real to discover who you are. And when I discover more about you, I feel like it's more organic that way. And it's more of it's like test driving a Ferrari. You're not
Right.
going to see it online. You want to test drive this bitch. And I'm going to be here, you know? But that's just me, you know?
That's
I know.
and that's great. I'm a little different, guys. I see it this way. When you go for a job interview, what are the first thing you do? What's the first thing you do when you go?
I would say if you go to a job interview, wear a suit or whatever.
No. What is
get
the
ready.
first you do before you go to a company?
When I'm walking into the space to be introduced,
Yeah.
shake their hands and say, "Welcome,
Okay.
my name
so
is."
what I'm trying to say is you research the company. So when you're asked about the company, you know what you're talking about. Okay? So when you go for an interview, guys, my background is quality assurance, document control. So I've known in the corporate world as well. So I think that's why that helps as well
Yeah.
in my industry. You research the company, you know what they're about, what they do, so you know what you're talking about. Okay? I like knowing about my client. So if they are there, okay, you went to Dominican Republic? I've been to Dominican Republic. I already know to talk about the Dominican Republic because that's gonna bring them in. That's gonna make them connect with you. Guys, I'm talking more as a planner to planner, DJ to DJ, not really for the client. I'm giving you a selling skill. You connect with your client. Find something you connect with them with. Okay? How do you know that if you don't know nothing about them? You know, how are you gonna connect with them if you don't know nothing about your client? If they're just gonna talk to you about their event.
Well, I mean, that's part of the people skills. That's part of the interview process. No,
So,
it's like it has to be like that.
I took a class of people skills. I took a class of talking skills. Guys, it's just, but the practice makes better. Okay? Once you start selling, you're going to find your it. So some people it works, some people it doesn't. For me, it works knowing about my client. Okay? That's it. I like knowing a little bit about my client. Even when I'm talking to them, I ask them about them. What do you do? What do you like? What's your favorite fruit? I like knowing all that stuff. Okay?
Well, obviously you asked that, yeah. I think what we're saying is what we're trying to say is just establishing,
Like looking for
watch
their
it, yeah.
information.
Like you're going behind the scenes, knowing who your client is before they come in. When it's like they reached out to you because they saw what you did at Abby's events. They saw we did it. Like you already saw that they're watching you. So in my mind, it's like, all right, let me keep the resume going. I'm gonna keep blasting content because the day you come in, there's no more questions. You're gonna come in, compare me to everyone else. I've had equity online. I've done all this. And I believe, like, you know, just in my world, I've established a certain value. So when you come in here, you're going to get the best service of anything.
Right.
You know, we have the best planner on board. Like, anyone that's involved with whomever comes in, they'll take your word, you know. And because I've seen it. I've seen other DJs. They'll research it. And, yeah, I'll give a funny story. A DJ was telling me this, that she was a fitness model. And they were just anxious to see this fitness model come in. You know, it wasn't our company. I just know, and they're anxious to see this fitness model.
Guys.
So, like, you know, the guys are excited. They want it. They want to see this fitness model come in here. You know, and all you saw was that what the story was. They were standing in the lobby, waiting to see them. They came in, hi, like instantly. It was just almost like it was reverse. They were so excited to see this client that it made them uncomfortable because it's like, well, I'm here to hire you to do my wedding, but in the end, it's like, all right, now I got to block you because you're gonna see me in the bikini shots and this stuff. It's like, this DJ told me this, and I'm like, well, dude, you're a creep. I said that, like, you're a creep. Let them come in, baby steps. Maybe follow them afterwards and see what's going on. But like, they're coming to interview you, so ask the questions there.
Right.
What do you do? Oh, if you look like you're dumb and you don't know what the hell, you're starting a brand new, to me, it's like you're starting a brand new conversation. Oh, let me learn more about you. Let's go right here. But that's people skills, though. You know, not many people have it, you know? I know you have it. It's just like there's a lot of people, some DJs especially, no, I just sell packages.
Oh my God, no.
Like, that's what it is. Like, what do you sell packages? Anyways, I feel like we're just kind of like rambling on here, but other than that, you know, it is, everyone has their own different types of clientele market and the way they sell these things. Do you have a good selling point when it comes to like closing the deal? When you have a client lined in at $2,000, $4,000, $7,000, $10,000 budget, what's your closing line when you nail it? Like, you know what, sign here, we're gonna make this happen. This is what my retainer fee is. Do you have a closing line?
Give them not a closing line. I tell them I develop a trust from them, and by having all my.
By the way, what cell phone do you have? Because she's been recording. That's a lot of gigs. Whatever
she
she's
stops
doing.
and then she goes, guys.
Okay.
Don't.
She doesn't know I'm recording her. Go on.
So
And they won't come at you.
the selling point for me, I have everything in place. They know they can trust me. They know I can do it. And once I do that, they're like, they see everything. I show them. I am not just, I also have a belt behind me that really, I can show what I did.
Uh-huh.
Some clients we connect, some clients we don't, okay? But I feel like you give them all their information for them to go, know about you, and then say, okay, I'm gonna hire her. Like for me to have an event that's 170, remember what was Brian's event? That was huge, almost 200K.
Almost 200. Yeah.
And for me to have that type of event and this person to trust me, guys, it was extreme.
So, going into something else here, what do you do with people who are like, I feel like this is, it's, even though it's a general thing with everyone, but I feel like the Latin community, they do a lot of copying.
Yeah.
They do a lot of copying. So what do you do with people who are copying a little bit more of like your style, the way you plan, the way, you know, proceed with a contract to secure, especially when the client is actually comparing you with another planner, and the other planner winds up doing the same thing with like thousands of dollars cheaper. How do you behave, or how do you act if you know you lost the deal because someone copied you?
You can't really act to it, guys, because the client is gonna go to. That means that client wasn't really for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't think it's copying. I don't think anything where everything is out there. If you're putting out there, you got to be ready for it to be copied.
Oh yeah.
You know, you're inspiration. Actually, I feel good. Like, now when I see people doing the videos, behind the scene videos, talking, I'm like, oh man, I started this. There wasn't really a lot of people doing that.
You know why?
Why?
Do you know why? Planners. I said planners don't like the way they sound. Planners sometimes don't like the way they look. All right. And I get it. It may be like an insecure thing, and I'm speaking in general. I'm not saying women.
Right.
I'm just saying in general. And they're afraid to be judged on the outside, not based on their execution.
Right.
And that's why they don't do this. I've said this to many planners, and I think maybe said this to you a while ago. You need to put a face to your brand. People need to know who executed this.
Yep.
Right now, all they're seeing is the back of people's shirts.
Yep.
Who the hell's the back of those shirts? They want to know the prettiness of who the face is. They want to know every little detail of what this planner does. So the fact is, if a planner's out there just reading one paragraph, hey, my name is, just give you an example, my name is Katherine, HRS and Events here, and tonight we have Brian's event. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Take a look at what's going on.
It was just great.
Little things like that help build the confidence in that person, and they start discovering more of their true value of their brand. Because if you're just going to keep letting pictures after pictures and no videos go
you
out,
have to connect with the client.
you're going to get screwed. In the end, it's like you're comparing, how come I can't get better, or how come I can get more work? How come I can't get more clients? You know, but that's exactly it. You put a face to your brand. People know who you are. People are comfortable because they now know you, and when they speak to you, they're not afraid because you're an open book. You know.
Yep.
So
I have a lot of people reaching out. How do you do those videos? How did you do those videos? Practice, guys. Practice. Get your phone. Record yourself. I've done it many times. Pretend, one of my friends told me, pretend the camera is your friend, is your best friend. Once I started doing that, and I started even talking to the camera, like, it's my friend. I love videos. I love a camera.
So let me ask you this question here. You're currently in a position where you want to do this full time, correct?
Yeah, so I was doing it for 3 years full time.
You were doing it full time?
Yeah, it's just recently.
Okay.
I was like, you know what?
So
Let me get something, just because I didn't want my corporate world to fade away from my life.
Yes, you're right. Let me ask this question the right way. Here we go. So you're in a position that a lot of people need to get persuaded and pushed to do this full time. You're a person who has experience.
Yes.
And who's been doing this full time for quite some time. What advice would you tell them to make sure that they're secure to do full time planning? Like, what would be the first thing on your first chapter of HRS events? The first thing you do when you do this full time? What kind of security you need to have? What kind of program do you need to have? I want to know, what do I need to do? I want to be a full time planner. How can I prepare? What do you suggest I do first?
To go full time is the hardest thing ever. It took me a while to do it. Number one, you got to have support from your family. Okay? Someone that's making that steady income that if anything happens, you know you have it. Number two, make sure all your processes are in place so you don't have to do that while you now can take advantage of working in your company, for your company. Okay, guys? It is hard. You have to have accounting in place. So you're not using the bank account from your business, using it to buy yourself something.
You need different IDs, yes.
Different IDs. You need to have. You need to be organized. I don't touch my bank account for my business. I pay myself. Okay, I pay an amount to go to my personal account. Why? Because then you're organized. I have an accountant. She does my stuff. Okay, where's my money going? I tell her. Who am I paying so much? Why am I doing? So how do you become a full-timer? Why don't you go to your accountant first, see how many events you do per year before you become a full-time, how much revenue you have, and if after paying everyone, you still have some lump amount to pay yourself. If you can't pay yourself, then don't do it yet.
You recommend that these planners, before they go full-time, is don't take on bigger expenses like rent or like vehicles and stuff like that, right?
No. As much as you can, try to avoid. I know you like the storefront, guys. It's amazing. I would love to have a storefront.
That's a sense of security.
But
feeling.
Guess what, guys? Who goes to an wedding planner storefront? Seriously, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
So you're gonna now storefront for me. It's my social media, it's my website, that's my storefront. I have an office, yes, but do I need a storefront? To show what? When I hire most of my vendors. Okay, guys, I have an office, but you don't need that expense. You don't need to go crazy buying expensive cars. You don't need to go, why? You're starting. And make sure you can pay yourself. Calculate that you can pay yourself before you become full-time.
What do you do to protect your brand now, like your HRS event? That's something. Is it trademarked? Did you already kind of, besides it being registered in the state, but is there anything with your logo, anything to protect that?
Yeah, I do have a logo. It's my company's logo. It's been like that forever. I started with a Denmas. I don't know how to say it.
Shoe. Wasn't it a shoe?
It was like a clown with different, like the Italy type of face. Clown. I forgot the name of that. But then I changed it, and it's just, but that is my logo. That is my company's trademark. Everywhere where social media is, everywhere on my contracts, is on my website. Everywhere you see it is where you see my logo.
On your contracts, is there certain terms that you use to, like, that you can share with us, maybe one or two terms that you use that's a very important thing for any new planners that are out there putting a contract together?
Actually, I'm working on revising my contract because for the vendors, what are they going to do? I have a contract for vendors since I hire so many. So now I'm going to be giving my vendors.
Elaborate on that. What do you mean? Now you're giving a contract to vendors?
Yeah. So what are they going to do? What are they going to deliver? When? What time? And everything. I need to know reason why. If they fall on the job, whose responsibility is it?
Because it's your recommendation? Is that what it is?
Yeah. It's I'm the planner. So I'm the planner. Who is responsible for all these vendors?
So that term should be under your contract then.
Yeah,
it
and
should be
under
under
my
your contract.
Yeah.
Like, so meaning it's almost like you would say, by signing this, any referrals or any vendors that I recommend is like almost saying like you're at risk, but not really. But these are just truly recommendations.
Exactly.
It's not Yeah, that's a pretty good add-on to any contract.
Yeah.
But that definitely should be under yours. I don't think anybody's
And,
going to
and,
sign a contract with you.
under mine, of course. And who has the right to post and what should they post? And if you hire a coordinator or a planner, because you still hire all these people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to post your things? Are they going to mention you? Who mentions who? There's so many right now. So you have to put somewhere in there that they're not going to use it in their social media as their work if you subcontract them.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be a touchy subject for sure. But it's definitely, I mean, I get it. Protecting the brand, protecting the referrals. Yeah. It's something for sure. All right. So as we're ending, Katherine, HRS event. We might have a few events coming up the rest of this year. I think October 5th we talked about something. But anyways, any last bit of advice of your success that you want to share with people that follow you and that are hearing our podcast?
If you're doing it just because of the money, guys, don't do it. You're going to get burned out because you're just going to, this job is not easy. Being a wedding planner, event planner is on the top 5 most hard jobs. So it is a lot on you, on your family. You don't sleep, you don't eat, nothing. I go hours without eating. And when I eat, it's in 2 seconds. So my advice, you got to love it. I know you hear all the time. You got to love what you do. You got to go into your social media. When you see your social media, you got to love it. Oh my God, I love seeing my social media. Oh my God, I love going to see my client. Oh my God, I love interacting with my vendors. You got to love everything about it, okay? So that's the main that I got to tell you. If you don't love it, don't do it. Just go on to a 9-to-5 job where nobody's telling you what to do.
Where you're safe.
And you're safe. Right now, I love what I do.
Good. All right. Well, where can we find your handles? Tell us your handles, your website, your phone number. Look at the camera. You can tell everyone who you are, what you're about, where they can find you.
Hey guys, so you can find me at HRS Event Design. We have all the platforms. We have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Yes, we do. We have TikTok. I'm going to get better on it. We have YouTube. We have a YouTube channel as well. My website, the same, www.HRS Event Design. And thank you guys. Thank you for having me today, Jack.
Cool. Thank you for joining me, and we out.
Bye.
Right. Good.
You like?
I think so. What do you think? You got to ask that one over there. How'd it go? What do you think? Oh, just 2 words, you see? You nervous? Kat, you nervous?
No.
Huh? Lies.
I'm not nervous.